I grew up in a rural area. My dad was a superintendent, so because of moves, especially my third grade move, it made it easier to hide all the problems I had. It was difficult. I had a real hard time with it for a long time, coming out and telling people that I couldn't read. It's embarrassing. It really is. I felt like it was my fault. It was my fault because I didn't learn how to read. Everyone else around me learned how to read, and because I thought there was something wrong with me, I was ashamed of it.
I grew up learning through phonics, and I think that whole language was, at the time period that he was in primary school, while I don't believe schools do whole language or just phonics now, they do a combination, which I think that they catch a lot more of the learning styles. And so therefore, I think he probably could have benefited from that, but that's things that have happened in the last 15, 20 years in educational research.
I think that was also compounded by the fact that my father was a superintendent. He was in school administration. Teachers really didn't want to say that the boss's son was an idiot.
My parents had a lot going on as far as just trying to keep the marriage together. And I think that just didn't come at a great time when you really need to be focused on Zane reading. I think it was a time, a few years there, where he was probably overlooked in that regard because it was difficult and they had other things that they were trying to concentrate on, like keeping the family together.
Even though I was in high school, I had something that you could use against your teachers, really.
He kind of camouflaged the reading with his successes in sports. He was always a leader in sports programs that he was involved in. He was very dedicated to those. He was really good at deflecting the focus of what he didn't do well to the things that everyone could see that he did well.
Sports are such a center point in rural communities and small towns. And I realized it was another way to deflect from any problems or any inadequacies I had with reading is to bring it back to sports. Since there is such an emphasis on it, other people, frankly, they'll help you. And you wouldn't read some assignment, but they wasn't going to punish you because they knew that if they did, you couldn't play on Friday night. Here I am, a junior in high school, and I can't hardly read. They wanted to hide it and keep it under wraps too, because if they didn't, the next question was going to be, well, how do you get this far?
He decided at the end of high school, the beginning of college, that if he was going to make it, he was going to have to get in and do it. He was going to have to take ownership. It wasn't going to happen. Somebody else wasn't going to do it for him. And so he got serious about doing it.
I think I went to college originally because everybody else did. It was the thing to do. I was terrified the first time I went into a college English class and had absolutely no idea what they were talking about.
When Zane started college, I was teaching. It was my second year of teaching English at a high school. And we happened to live close together. And he would come down every Wednesday night to write a paper or rewrite a paper. He only wrote one of every 3 words. And I think because his mind was going so much faster than what he could write, when he would tell me what he wanted to say, then it made perfect sense. They were great ideas. It was actually a lot of fun doing it. And then we would mark it up and revise it the next Wednesday. Just within that semester, he went from writing one, every 3rd word to actually putting together 5 sentences to a paragraph. He really went from there. After that year, after Comp 1 and 2, I just proofed papers. After that, he wrote all the papers. He spent a lot of time really getting in, trying to learn, and he read the literature that they gave him he was supposed to respond to, and he always had a lot of ideas.
I was fortunate enough to be decent at math and science. I could overcompensate, still have a passing GPA. I had other people that would help me through. I had friends and girlfriends that would read stuff to me. That's how I struggled through literature and those type of classes. After I graduated, I substitute taught at some different elementaries, and actually worked with kids in 2nd and 3rd grade as they were going through and reading, and really made a conscious effort to start reading and working on my reading. Try to read every day and turn my mind like any other muscle that you train for athletics or anything else, where I could actually start reading in longer periods of time and you know, get better and better at it. When I first decided I was going to law school, I mean, my mother just, she didn't know what to say. I mean, she was kind of really taken back by it. Most people were very negative about it, and really took the position that, you know, I wasn't going to be successful at it, and it was just really a waste of time and money. And I use that as motivation most of the time. When somebody told me I couldn't do something, that just kind of made me set my mind to say, you know what, I will do it. I'll show them that they're wrong. My father gave me the gift of teaching me how to work hard, which is something that's invaluable, because it's carried me further than any other gift that anybody else has given me, and that just having the ability and the know-how to extend yourself and push yourself that so many people don't have. My sister is, she's amazing. She's really probably my best friend. She's helped me out so much. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't have made it through school if it hadn't been for my sister. And I'm so lucky to have her. My life totally changed once I could read and read well. It totally changed my life socially, financially. Everything opened up. The biggest change I noticed right off was socially. Before, how I felt about myself, I didn't feel very good. I felt like everybody else was smarter than me, and they were better than me. And I had a real inferiority complex about it, I guess. It gave me a lot more confidence when I started being around people. I didn't feel so bad about myself, and in retrospect, I think I became a lot better person in that, you know, sometimes when you don't feel good about yourself, you lash out and you're mean to people and try to put them down to make yourself feel better. And I quit doing that. And it made a big difference in my relationships. Fortunate, I guess, for me, about the time that I was improving my abilities, is the internet became more prevalent, I guess, used by everybody. I just remember the freedom, the first time I could go and I could pull up articles, just the freedom to obtain information. Because at the end of the day, I always feel like that information is wealth. The things that are the most rewarding in life are often the most work. And I don't think that's by accident, because unless you really work to get something, you don't truly appreciate it. My new nonprofit organization we've started, the idea behind it is that growing up in a rural area, I realized that you're not given a lot of the advantages that people that grow up in a city are. The idea behind the nonprofit is to encourage people, specifically kids, to learn how to read and understand at an early age that knowledge is power, education is powerful.
Technology bridging the gap in the reading process was really instrumental for Zane, because he was able to manipulate it. He could attack articles as opposed to whole books. Whole books can be really intimidating if you're not so good at it or you don't enjoy reading. So the idea of having an ebook, or even manipulative ebooks that children can use. But we don't want to just hand them out and give them away. We want to work with the teachers, because they are the experts. They're the ones that work with those children every day. They need to be able to collaborate and come up with the best way to use them, other than just another, an ebook instead of a hardbound book.
Whatever settlement or verdict we get, the county in which we get it, we are going to give back to that county to encourage reading and literacy for children in that county. Just that way they have the chance that they can find that and they don't have to struggle like I did. It follows me today. I still have difficulty reading out loud. It became even more apparent when I had a child and have a little girl, and I try to read out loud to her. Not doing it like everyone else and learning how to do it in elementary and reading left to right, word after word. That's not really how I read. I wouldn't change what I went through and those problems that I had and not being in the struggles I had because they made me who I am. But I don't ever want my child to have to go through that. It's such a difficult thing to carry that around, to feel like that you're inadequate and just to be ashamed because you can't do something, and to think that you're less of a person than somebody else because of that. It's something nobody should have to carry around with them.